Turning the economy around is the topic we've received the most emails, the most Facebook messages, the most tweets about. Of course, it's topping all of the polls. So finding specific solutions to the country's economic ills will be a recurring theme throughout the debate tonight. Now to my colleague Chris Wallace with the next round of questions.
Thank you, Brett. Good evening, candidates. Governor Pawlenty and Congresswoman Bachmann, as you both know, there's an expression, Minnesota nice, and some people believe that both of you have tested it in recent weeks. Governor Pawlenty, you say that Representative Bachmann has no accomplishments in Congress. You have questioned her ability to serve as president because of her history of migraines. Question, Governor, is she unqualified, or is she just beating you in the polls?
Well, Chris, to correct you, I have not questioned Congresswoman Bachmann's migraine headaches. I don't think that's an issue. The only headache I hear about on the campaign trail is the headache Barack Obama has given the people of this country with his lousy leadership and this lousy economy. Now, as to Congresswoman Bachmann's record, look, she's done wonderful things in her life, absolutely wonderful things, but it's an undisputable fact that in Congress, her record of accomplishment and results is non-existent. That's not going to be good enough for our candidate for President of the United States. That's not going to be good enough for the President of the United States to serve in that capacity. The American people are going to expect more and demand more, and in fact, we need somebody who can contrast with Barack Obama on results. If you go to my record in Minnesota, you'll see government spending went from historic highs to historic lows. We appointed conservative justices, transformed the court in a conservative direction. We did health care reform the right way, no mandates individually, no government takeovers, and more. That's the kind of record we're going to need to contrast and beat Barack Obama.
Congresswoman Bachmann, I'm going to ask you in a moment your own question about Governor Pawlenty, but I want to give you an opportunity to respond to his comments. You have 30 seconds. One, that you have no record of accomplishments in Congress, and two, that there's something missing in your resume because you do not have executive experience.
Well, thank you for asking the question. I would say, Governor, when you were governor in Minnesota, you implemented cap and trade in our state, and you praised the unconstitutional individual mandate, and you called for requiring all people in our state to purchase health insurance that government would mandate. Third, you said the era of small government was over. That sounds a lot more like Barack Obama, if you ask me. During my time in the United States Congress, I have fought all of these unconstitutional measures, as well as Barack Obama, and I led against increasing the debt ceiling the last 2 months.
I just wanted to pick up, and in fact you anticipated the question I was going to ask you, and then I'm going to give you a chance to respond, Governor. Congresswoman Bachmann, isn't that about the worst thing you can say about a fellow Republican in this campaign, that he reminds you of Barack Obama?
The policies that the governor advocated for were cap and trade. He praised and wanted to require Minnesotans to purchase the unconstitutional individual mandate in health care, and he said the era of small government is over. I have a very consistent record of fighting very hard against Barack Obama and his unconstitutional measures in Congress. I'm very proud of that record. That is what qualifies me as a fighter and representative of the people to go to Washington, D.C., into the White House. People are looking for a champion. They want someone who's been fighting. When it came to health care, I brought tens of thousands of Americans to Washington to fight the unconstitutional individual mandate. I didn't praise it. When it came to cap and trade, I fought it with everything that was in me, including I introduced the Light Bulb Freedom of Choice Act so people could all purchase the light bulb of their choice. I also believe that big government is hurting the United States. We need to have small government.
And I'm sure you've been waiting for the opportunity. Governor Pawlenty, 30 seconds to respond.
Well, I'm really surprised that Congresswoman Bachmann would say those things. That's not the kinds of things she said when I was governor of the state of Minnesota. And moreover, she's got a record of misstating and making false statements, and that's another example of that list. She says that she's fighting for these things. She fought for less government spending. We got a lot more. She led the effort against Obamacare. We got Obamacare. She led the effort against TARP. We got TARP. She said she's got a titanium spine. It's not her spine we're worried about. It's her record of results. If that's your view of effective leadership with results, please stop, because you're killing us.
Wait. Congressman Bachmann, 30 seconds to respond.
Thank you so much. I was at the tip of the spear fighting against the implementation of Obamacare in the United States Congress. Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, and Barack Obama ran Congress, but I gave them a run for their money. Again, on cap and trade, I was there from the very beginning giving Speaker Pelosi a run for her money. That's why I was Speaker Pelosi about her #1 target to defeat last year, because I was effectively taking them on nearly every argument they put forward. I fought. When others ran, I fought, and I led against increasing the debt ceiling.
Okay, let's hold our applause, if we could, so we can get more questions in. Thank you.
I see 6 other candidates there. I'm going to go to Governor Romney. You're campaigning as the man who can fix the economy. Let's look at your record, sir. As head of Bain Capital, you acquired American Pad and Paper. 2 U.S. plants were closed and 385 jobs were cut. Later, you bought Dade International. Almost 2,000 workers were laid off or relocated. And when you were governor, Massachusetts ranked 47th of the 50 states in job growth. Question: you were going to be the jobs president?
Absolutely, Chris. Let me tell you how the real economy works. When I was at Bain Capital, we invested in about 100 different companies. Not all of them worked. I know there's some people in Washington that don't understand how the free economy works. They think if you invest in a business, it's always going to go well. And they don't always go well. But I'm very proud of the fact that I learned about how you can be successful in enterprise, why we lose jobs, how we gain jobs, and overall, in those 100 businesses we invested in, tens of thousands of jobs, net, were created. I understand how the economy works. Herman Cain and I are the 2 on the stage here who've actually worked in the real economy. If people want to send to Washington someone who spent their entire career in government, they can choose a lot of folks. But if they want to choose somebody who understands how the private sector works, they're going to have to choose one of us, because we've been in it during our career. And by the way, as the governor of Massachusetts, when I came in, jobs were being lost month after month after month. We turned that around. We were able to add jobs, balance our budget, and get Massachusetts back on track. And by the way, our unemployment was below the federal level 3 of the 4 years I was in office.
Chris will continue his round of questions on this round, and coming up, the issue of illegal immigration, the battle over health care. Please go to foxnews.com/politics to check out the live blogging on tonight's debate. We'll be right back from Ames, Iowa after a short break. Welcome back to the Stevens Auditorium on the campus of Iowa State University, and the first Republican presidential debate in the Hawkeye State. Now back to another fiery round of questions from Chris Wallace.
Thank you. Speaker Gingrich, one of the ways that we judge a candidate is the campaign they run. In June, almost your entire national campaign staff resigned, along with your staff here in Iowa. They said that you were undisciplined in campaigning and fundraising, and at last report you're $1 million in debt. How do you respond to people who say that your campaign has been a mess so far?
Well, let me say, first of all, Chris, that I took seriously Brett's injunction to put aside the talking points, and I wish you would put aside the gotcha questions. Like Ronald Reagan, who had 13 senior staff resign the morning of the New Hampshire primary, and whose new campaign manager laid off 100 people because he had no money, because the consultants had spent it. Like John McCain, who had to go and run an inexpensive campaign because the consultants spent it. I intend to run on ideas. Congress should come back Monday. They should repeal the Dodd-Frank bill. They should repeal Sarbanes-Oxley. They should repeal Obamacare. They should institute Lean Six Sigma across the entire federal government. A hard idea for Washington reporters to cover, but an important idea because it's the key to American manufacturing success. I'd love to see the rest of tonight's debate asking us about what we would do to lead an America whose president has failed to lead, instead of playing Mickey Mouse games.
Speaker Gingrich, if you think questions about your records are Mickey Mouse, I'm sorry. I think those are questions that a lot of people want to hear answers to, and you're responsible for your records, sir.
Well, if I get a rebuttal,
pardon?
I think that there's too much attention paid by the press corps about the campaign minutia, and not enough paid by the press corps to the basic ideas that distinguish us from Barack Obama.
Governor Huntsman, at the risk of raising Speaker Gingrich's ire, I'm going to ask you about your record, sir. You supported a stimulus package in 2009. In fact, you said the Obama stimulus package was not big enough. As governor, you signed on to a regional cap and trade market. You endorsed civil unions for same-sex couples, and you served as President Obama's ambassador to China. Some people have suggested that maybe you're running for president in the wrong party.
Chris, let me just say I'm proud of my service to this country. If you love your country, you serve her. During a time of war, during a time of economic hardship, when asked to serve your country in a sensitive position where you can actually bring a background to help your nation, I'm the kind of person who's going to stand up and do it, and I'll take that philosophy to my grave. In terms of the stimulus you talked about, it was failed. And let me tell you what I talked about with respect to the stimulus. I talked about the need for more tax cuts in the stimulus. We didn't have enough of it. And why did I talk about the need for tax cuts for business? Because we had done it in the state of Utah. We had done historic tax cuts. We created a flat tax in the state of Utah, exactly what needs to happen in this country. We got the economy moving. We became the #1 job creator in this nation and the best managed state. That's exactly what needs to happen in this nation. I am running on my record, and I'm proud to run on my record.
Mr. Kaine, you have a compelling personal story and a strong record as a businessman, but you also have a growing list of questionable statements in this campaign, and I want to ask you about those, if I may, sir. You said that communities have the right to ban Muslims from building mosques before you later apologized. You have stated that you do not have a firm plan yet as to what you would do in Afghanistan until you talk to the generals. You, at one point in the campaign, didn't know about the so-called Palestinian right of return during a big debate about the Mideast peace issues. How do you reassure people that you know enough to be President of the United States, sir?
You want me to answer all of those in 1 minute, Chris? Pick one. I know more about the Palestinian, the right of return issue now than I did then. But I know about it. I've been documented. The first point that you raised about saying that communities have a right to ban mosques, no, that's not exactly what I said. Unfortunately, the people who helped you put that together have misquoted me. I have gone on record, and I put it on a press release that's available at my office, that simply says that if anyone misunderstood my intent, I apologize for that. But never will I apologize for saying that Sharia law does not belong in the courts of the United States of America. Now, relative to Afghanistan, since we did this last, I have learned more about Afghanistan. You may recall that one of the things that I always stress, make sure you're working on the right problem. We don't have one problem in Afghanistan. We have 3 problems to deal with. I now have a better understanding of it, and if I get an opportunity to rebuttal, I'll tell you what those 3 are.
You're going to get asked about Afghanistan, sir. Brett.
Now we turn to Susan Ferricchio at the Washington Examiner. She has the next round of questions for the candidates. The topic, illegal immigration. Susan.
Okay, we'll start with Governor Huntsman. You said that we need to build a fence to secure our borders, but then we need to deal with the millions of illegal immigrants already here in the country. You said, quote, there's got to be an alternative to sending them back. That's unrealistic. Governor Huntsman, are you proposing citizenship for illegal aliens?